Welcome back, everybody, once again to Geekfest Rants. I'm your host, Carlos Perone, and with me, as usual, Steve Avona. Say hi, Steve.
Hey, Carlos.
We are continuing our fall preview recap show that we've started earlier, and today we are going to hit Wednesday, one of our combination new and old nights for what's new on TV. Steve, you want to start off with what you normally would watch on a Wednesday, if anything?
Oh, sure. Actually, I think it's a bigger night for me than it is for you. I'd start off with ABC and two of the comedies that I've been watching since last season. One is Modern Family, and the other is The Middle. Modern Family, I think, it's hugely popular. It won a bunch of Emmys. It's endearing. It's shot in that documentary style, like The Office. I suppose part of the reason I like it so much, beyond the actors are great. It honestly, aspects of it remind me of my in-laws in sort of an exaggerated way. I have a father-in-law who divorced his wife and remarried a Spanish lady, and so I guess I relate to that. And she had her own children before they got married, and they had a child together. So I teased my wife about that Modern Family is sort of an exaggerated version of her family.
And who's the gay couple in your family?
That's what we don't have. That's the part we're missing, but there are, as I said, it's a much more exaggerated version, but I relate to a lot of what goes on in terms of the dynamic in the family. I think Eric Stonestreet as Cam is the breakout actor of the show. He's absolutely hilarious. Ed O'Neill is a reliable actor from years ago. Anchors the show for me. He was in Married with Children for many years. You have Ty Burrell, who's a talented actor who finally got on a show that was worthy of his abilities.
What was he on before? Because he looks familiar, but I can't place him.
He's been in I should have IMDb'd him before we did the show, because he's been in at least two shows, both of which I watched, both of which didn't make it past the first season. One of the shows he was in was with Patricia Heaton and Kelsey Grammer. It was the show about the sitcom about the network news station, or I should say the affiliate news station, and it was actually not a bad show, and he was very good in it. And prior to that, he was in another sitcom kind of about a messed up family, and Henry Winkler was in that one. And these were both within the last 4 years. And I gave them both a shot, and they were varying quality, but he was terrific in them. And now I'm happy to see him in a show that's his talents. I just love how the plots kind of weave together in terms of, usually there's a lot of interconnectedness, and it ends up in some family gathering at the end where everything kind of goes nuts. And that's where you see a lot of the kind of hilarious comedy come out. But the show is consistently funny, and it's one of the best shows on television as far as I'm concerned.
That's definitely one of the shows I tried last time around, and I kind of stuck to it this time. One of the things that attracted me to the show was one of these actors. Again, I'm not sure what his name is. He's one of the two from the gay couple, the younger one, the redhead.
I know. Yeah, the character's name is Mitchell.
Okay, he used to be on a show called The Class, which we've talked about before. That I used to love that show. It's one of these shows again, first season, and then it died. As a matter of fact, it also had Ritter's kid from The Event. He was in that show too.
Yeah, Jason.
And that show was hilarious. He didn't play a gay character, but he played a very unusual,
kind of
nerdy, neurotic character, which you kind of see bits and pieces of it in the Modern Family. And I remember we used to watch it, and it's like, and then they canceled, and we're like, oh man, I wish somebody would pick up this actor because he does such a great little, he has had a great little part. And it's funny, a lot of those actors from The Class have been showing up in other shows, from True Blood. one character, and I remember also now with Walking Dead coming in a couple of weeks, another character from that show has shown up now. So it's funny how
Hmm.
these actors just keep coming back and returning, for all these other shows. But in Modern Family, he's perfect. He's just dead on in that show.
Julie Bowen, who's another terrific actress, and she's been in a bunch of successful shows like Boston Legal, and she was on Ed, which
I
was
remember
a
her.
well
Yep,
remembered
I remember.
show.
I used to watch
Yeah.
that and Lost, of course.
And Lost, she had a recurring part on Lost, so it's got a great cast, and I don't think anybody. It's another one of those shows where you can just completely relate to one episode or another is gonna remind you of something that happened in your own family. And of course, with TV, it's exaggerated, but it's still relatable.
Right, and because it's the half-hour format, it's not that. It's kind of like
Drawn out.
the difference between this and Parenthood. You have two
Exactly.
family-ish kind of shows. This one is way more slapsticky, obviously, but it
Slapstick.
works better in that half-hour format, the sitcom
Absolutely.
formula.
Absolutely.
What else do you have on Wednesdays?
Well, the other one I have on Wednesday is The Middle, and that's with Patricia Heaton. Again, it's a situation where an actress who was on a wildly successful show, Everybody Loves Raymond, and the man who plays her husband, Neil Flynn, who was on Scrubs, which was another show I absolutely loved. So I was obviously going to give this one a try, just based on
And
them.
remember, he also had
And-
that cameo in The Fugitive.
He was in The Fugitive, and they referenced
In
that in
Scrubs.
an episode of Scrubs. Which I thought was great. And he was also in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal
No.
Skull. So I'm wondering.
Oh, that's right.
He
He was one
was,
of the
yeah.
FBI guys.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if he's buddies with Harrison Ford. I don't know, but how do you get in two of his movies?
That's a trivia question right there.
Absolutely. It's a decent, reliable show. It's not anywhere near as good as either Everybody Loves Raymond or Scrubs. But the show's writing, it's somewhat beneath the actors, but it's always cute. The kids provide much of the laughter. It captures that feel, which is where Patricia Heaton's originally from. So, and of course, she's a mother of several children. So I think, to a certain degree, it's based on her own life, and she's reliable. And the show it doesn't provide you the kind of belly laughs that Modern Family does, but we both enjoyed it. It's a little bit reminiscent of Malcolm in the Middle, but not to the
Okay.
degree of hilarity or insanity as that
Are you
show.
talking about the how funny the show is, or the way the show is shot?
No, how funny the show is, and the kids sort of
They have that
anchoring
dynamic
the show.
Okay.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the youngest kid on the middle is very reminiscent of Dewey
Okay.
in Malcolm in the Middle. So, as I said, the kids provide the real laughter in the show, and again, it's a decent show, and it's better than most of the sitcoms out there. And we end up watching because there are like 4 comedies. That's Wednesday's is ABC's comedy block, and the other 2 shows, Cougar Town and the other show we don't watch.
I see. A big show that I watch every Wednesday. Well, now every Wednesday, used to be on Thursdays. Is Survivor. I know you're not a fan of Survivor,
Oh, that's okay.
but it's a show. Again, it's out of all the reality shows, it's the only one that I follow, and we watch it with the kids. They love the challenges and all the different activities that the show has, and it turns into a little soap opera every year because you get invested into these characters, and
Sure.
yes, it's reality, but they are characters. These people try to be characters, and
Right.
this season is lacking a little bit in the quality, and I think it's not so much because the show is not as good. I think it's because we just came off 2 very popular seasons before, which with very popular characters, one of them being Russell, which was kind of like when you have a character that kind of comes out of the show almost in terms of how popular he becomes. And it's kind of like a little bit of a letdown now because you don't have that character. You don't have such a strong personality, and people are trying to be that character in little ways. And you're kind of like, no, these guys are not that guy anymore. That guy's over. It's over. But it's still a good show as far as I'm concerned in terms of entertaining. And for us, it's a family-ish kind of show. Granted, a lot of times they get a
Okay.
little nutty, but the kids love it. They love the challenges. They love all the interactions with other people. So that's, like I said, that's my my dip into the reality world.
Your concession into the reality brain rot.
I know, and it's I think this is like the
8th or
it's the
9th?
10th year, but they do 2 seasons a year, so it's technically like the 20th season, I think, or 21st. It's some
Okay.
ridiculous huge number, but it's still going strong, and That's my, like I said, that's my shot at reality. What else do you have on
Mm-hmm,
Wednesdays?
your guilty
Yep.
pleasure. Wednesdays, I have Law and Order SVU, and now Law and Order Los
Holy crap!
Angeles, and Law and Order. That's my franchise, my TV franchise. I don't watch CSI. I don't watch
But
NCIS.
how many are there
So
now?
at the moment, now the original Law and Order was finally canceled. So you have SVU. Now you have Los Angeles. You have Criminal Intent, which is going to start its final season on
Oh
USA
wow!
within the next few months. And if you want to be exact, there's a Law and Order UK, which you can see on BBC America, which I watch.
Wow!
uh, and
But you have to watch it with
you know,
subtitles, right?
you can understand. And actually, it's funny too because at least for their first two seasons, they recycled scripts from the
Wow!
original Law and Order. So you recognize this, but I still watch them
About time
anyway.
we have a
even though
reverse The Office situation.
Yes, right.
Now, LA Law, Law and Order Los Angeles, is that the newest one?
Yes, it's just
And
started.
that's with that from what because the only reason I'm aware of it. First of all, I don't watch those, but I'm aware of it because at work, every time I get into an elevator, they're promoting these new shows, and I see a
Yeah.
picture of Terrence Howard, and
Terrence
I always keep
Howard.
saying, dude, why didn't you do Iron Man 2? What's wrong
Iron
with
Man
you?
2.
And then I also see, speaking of superheroes, I see Doc Ock,
Alfred Molina. Yes. Doc Ock.
Now, have you
Yeah,
had
so
a
got
chance
the
to see these guys at work yet?
Yes, it's the same formula transplanted to Los Angeles. You can see that they're going to make really celebrity culture. It's the cases will be ripped from like TMZ and that kind
Okay.
of thing, and that gives the show its own unique identity within the franchise. Again, you have a solid cast. You mentioned Alfred Molina, who's excellent in whatever he does, films or television. He was Doc Ock, which he's got a special place in my heart. Terrence Howard, who's a reliable actor and a fool for not doing Iron Man 2. And even Skeet Ulrich, who
That's right,
was
Jericho.
on that show Jericho. So it has geek credibility there. And I've seen the first two episodes, and it's more of the same. I use this phrase a lot, but it's comfort food. It's not anything taxing on you. You just kind of know it's a formula that you're familiar with and you enjoy. And I was upset they canceled the original Law and Order. I've been watching it for many years, and that's choice.
My equivalent to that would be my CSIs that I watch. So it's kind
Okay.
of like it's all kind of the same, but it's comforting.
And it has something in it that appeals to you. And Law and Order, for whatever reason, I kind of grabbed onto it during the Jerry Orbach days. I love him. He was a great actor. I started actually watching it on the TNT reruns, and then buying the DVD box sets for about the first 5 seasons to get caught up with it. But and then when you're so deep in one franchise, it makes you not want to start another. So when they started with the CSIs and the NCIS and all that stuff, I was like, no, that's enough. I got, how much different can it be? And it's the kind of show where you can be, even though I try not to miss episodes, except for SVU, where it's a little bit more character driven, and I'll get into that in a second. 2-3 episodes in a row, and you're not going to be shut out. But SVU is a show where it's much more character driven, and it's driven, I think, by the stars of the show. So whereas this franchise has always had a revolving cast of characters, if they lost Chris Maloney or Mariska Hargitay, I think the show would fall apart. It's been on for, I think it's its 10th season, and I think it's renewed for at least one more beyond this season. But you have a great supporting cast with Ice-T and Richard Belzer, and that's the one unique show in the franchise where it's really the actors, the characters who drive the show, and if you lost them, I think it would be finished.
Doesn't Richard Belzer hold the record about, for some reason, he has played the same character on different shows the most? Like completely different shows.
He has,
and it's that character.
It is that character. He's played it, I believe, even on X-Files. I'm not positive, but you'd have to double check me on it. But I think he was on X-Files. He's played Munch, the character on Homicide, which is where he originated.
I used to watch that.
Which is an excellent show. Played it once on The Wire on HBO. He's played it He's played him on all the Law and Orders, including Law and Order UK, and I believe there's a French version of Law and Order that he's actually appeared in.
Oh my God!
So you'd have to double check me, but yeah, he's set some kind of a
Good
record.
Lord. Let me hit one other show that I watch on Wednesdays, and it's one of these shows that comes and goes depending because it's one of those weird seasons. It's a Discovery Channel show called MythBusters. We've been watching that again. It's a family for us. It's a family show. We've been watching it for years now, and I started watching it maybe about 4 years into the series, and then we started recording all the older episodes. And it's a kind of like a sciencey show. But primarily for the kids. We were watching it for the kids, trying to see something that's kind of funny and educational at the same time. And the show keeps going strong. I don't know I forget how many seasons that they're into now. I think it's like 6 or 7 seasons. But it just keeps chugging along, and it's a great family show. And one more show that I haven't had a chance to watch it that I've kind of been interested based on the quick little promos they've been playing is a Comedy Channel show called Ugly Americans, which is a cartoon show after South Park. And from what I've seen, it's kind of like a very funny, adultish cartoon show, very geeky in terms of the content. But I'm gonna try to give it a try, see if that's any good. Do you have anything else on Wednesdays?
No, I think that's it.
Cool. Well, that I think we'll wrap it up for our Wednesday preview recap show. We are going to continue with the rest of the week on a few future episodes. And thank you everybody for listening to us and downloading and watching it online. And for Steve Avona and myself, Carlos Perron, that's all for now for Geekfest Rants. Thank you.